when we bring it to our everyday life, yeah, like some people achieve certain titles and accomplishments, and then they mistakenly use the title or the accomplishment as their identity, right? And
Yes.
not being able to distinguish or that the accomplishment is something that you just achieve through that the person worked towards and achieved. Like the accomplishment is not you, right? Like you didn't come out the womb as that, right? And
Yes.
the title, the position, whatever it is, it's temporary. You're not gonna, at some point you're going to move on into another space, another environment. You're no longer gonna be that, right?
Yes.
Like the president of the United States, right? Like former presidents, out of respect, like they carry the title, like former president, fill in the blank. But you ain't the president. You don't have presidential powers to do anything,
Yes.
right? You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? So
Yes.
like, it's a tradition out of respect, but like you can't walk around like, hey, don't you know I'm the president? Like, no, you're not.
No.
You're a citizen like me.
Yes.
And you're subjected to the laws like me now, right?
Yes.
So, and I'm just using that as a top level example. So, but you can't mistakenly take a level of achievement or accomplishment and then associate that with who you are, the core of who you are.
Yeah.
I'm not in the business of telling people what they can and can't do. Doing something like that is a grave mistake. It's a grave error in, if you're someone who aspired to become great, if you're someone who aspired to achieve more, do more, in life, be mindful of the labels and the titles and just the places you even associate yourself with, right? I left Jamaica, I went to New York. I use New York as a reference point because people will say, well, where are you from in the States? I say, well, New York, right? By definition of, because I spent time in New York, yes, by technical definition, I'm a New Yorker.
Yes.
But by no means in my consciousness do I allow that to put a limitation in the barrier. Because what are some of the associations that people identify New Yorkers with, or up north? Oh, you drive like this.
You're arrogant.
Yeah, I'm like, but I'm none of those things, right? So I'm not going to emotionally attach myself like, oh man, you New Yorkers, man. And if someone made that comment, y'all are like this, and this, like you would get no emotional response from me because that's not my identity, right? It's a place that I lived. If that's the case, if you're going to say, well, I'm a New Yorker, then you might as well say I'm an Okinawan too, or you might as well I'm Californian and this, because I lived in multiple places in my adult life. And I enjoyed my time in all of them, right? Some more than others, but I enjoyed my time in all of them. Yes. Am I indigenous from that? No, I was indigenously born in Jamaica. So like my place of birth was there. So like I'll give you that as my initial reference point, because that culture is the culture that's responsible for socially programming me, right? Similarly, there's good and bad everywhere. So I had to become mindful and conscious of defending a place of reference and or anything that I identify with, and defending it with this utmost honor when it's in the wrong, right? Like, no, I'm from there, so I'm gonna do. Right is right, wrong is wrong, right? So our emotional attachment and connection to the things that we identify with can sometimes blind us from defending things that are just immoral, unethical, just wrong, right? Like, and that's an injustice against other human beings and just humanity on a whole.
No, the emotional attachment right there. That is definitely the key word when it comes to identity.
Yes.
Emotional attachment, because I used to be a heavy, soccer fan. I was like, I'm a Chelsea fan, right? Like in Nigeria, like, growing up and everything, well, emotional. I have the jersey, everything. We'll spend hours talking about it, get into argument. How dare you, accuse my club of this? Boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? Because I identify as Chelsea fan and everything, right? So the emotions right there drives my actions, it drives my thoughts and everything. And just right now, when you're saying, "Oh, New Yorker," right? So it's like, oh, okay, what people identify New Yorkers as? Oh, they're arrogant, they're rude, they're this and that. But not having any emotional attachment to it, because that plays a very, very big role, right? Especially with what we do, where when it comes to identity, man, the level of emotional attachment people have to it is like, number one, be careful of what you identify yourself with. And then number two is like knowing that you're ever evolving. So whatever you are today is not what you're going to be tomorrow. Right. So that emotional attachment should be like, okay, can be emotionally loose, because when it's time for me to evolve, I'm not having difficulties trying to evolve. Oh man, but I love this, but but I love, what I'm saying? No, man, it's time to evolve. You have grown this person, you have grown this situation, let's move on.
Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like the content you're seeing, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Not just that, go ahead and check out the podcast link down below. Like, share, and subscribe.